Welcome back to the very last episode of the second season of Family Altar, where humanity meets divinity. My name is Zinhle, and of course, together with Apostle David Malatse, just wrapping up the wonderful, informative, very emotional as well at times episode that we've had. And talking about, emotional episodes, I remember specifically a conversation that we had with Pastor Mark, who had, was just entangled in drug addiction from a very young age. Had some issues there with the family, an absent father, and all of that. And as a matter of fact, if you happen to miss out on that, here's a look at what we discussed with him.
And at the age of 13, I was introduced to drugs. I'm from Westbury. And you know, Westbury is the town where drugs started in South Africa. Wow. Growing up without a father, I found fatherhood in the drugs and in the gangsterism. At the age of 17, death sentence. But God was faithful. And I smoked ever since, until God called me. It's now 7 years that I'm clean.
Apostle, that episode also feels like just yesterday, and it's quite an emotional one. And I think for me, just that whole thing of the ripple effect of dysfunctional family settings that led this man of God to want to go out into the streets to find a father figure who then exposed him to drugs at a very young age, and then his whole life was, just a bit messed up. What are your takeaway thoughts just from that episode?
Many are those who are like Pastor Mark out there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for them, they don't have an audience. People whom they can sit down and listen to their story.
Yeah.
So that they can understand them. Because when you express, instead of explaining how you feel, you'll end up being in jail. Pastor Mark at the age of 17, he was almost killed in prison because he was sentenced for, he got death sentence. But look, Zinhle, I still believe that it reflects back to the issue identity as well.
Yeah.
Because if the father was there, and he said the mother will go bring a child and go back, and now there is no proper image of what the real family is.
Yeah.
Him being a male child, even today, I remember I had some, heart-to-heart discussion because he's planning to get married now. Maybe you'll be invited. He met someone now. He's ready to marry, but he's still longing to know, his father.
Yeah.
And after 40 years doing drugs, as the pictures, we will also attest, he was done.
Yeah.
But yet God came through for him. And look at what God is doing now in his life. He's out there now trying to salvage what is left.
Exactly.
Looking, after those remnants who had the same attack as his. And every time when I sit down with those boys, I ask them what happened. I did not know my father.
Yeah.
My father this, my family this.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking.
It's very heartbreaking, and I think one of the most painful things to constantly watch is just the gap in terms of communication between adults and children, usually in the families. That's where we get it wrong, because it's either the children are struggling to communicate their needs to the adults, or the adults are just not understanding the needs of their children. And so when there's that rift, then the children go out to the streets and they get exposed to so many things, trying to find solutions and a sense of belonging. But just, one of the other lessons I got from that was to say it's never too late for anyone. If God could turn his life around, and I think as a mother or a father who's with a child that is struggling with addiction, etc., don't lose hope on your child. Anything is still possible as long as a person is still breathing.
Look, they need their parents more than a rehab. And the system that we're working on now is to partner with the parents. We don't have to house your child anymore. Let your child get help wherever he is, because you are the parent. You cannot give up on your child because of a DSTV or whatever, your jewelry. Those things you can still buy, but you can never replace your child. So you can't give up on that soul.
Talking about giving up on your child, we had a fantastic episode. I remember with Manunu and her mom. So Manunu was born with a disability, and I remember on that episode just chatting about the importance of the support of parents and family to a child that's born with disability. Because Maruti, you know, if you're honest, within the black communities especially, you know, before it was a case of if your child was born with a disability, they were viewed as a source of shame to the family. You want to hide them from society, etc. But here's a look at you know, some of the great moments we had in that episode.
When I was born, they discovered that they are going to have a child living with a disability called osteogenesis imperfecta. It's a condition whereby your bones break easily. So they don't know how to handle this child. This is what I love about my parents. They always used to tell me, you are not disabled. You are just like other kids, but you're doing things differently. Yes. I see myself as the mouthpiece of each and every human being that is living with disability. Because I see myself as a great example. Because I never let myself down. I'm not looking myself that I'm disabled. I keep on as but this time you are being driven by God. And we are helping out people that are needing food.
You know, those are very, very special moments that we had with Manunu, and I remember
mind-blowing.
Yes. Muruti, just your final words, you know, once more on that issue of, you know, handling the complexities. Because, you know, a lot of the times nobody plans or expects to have a child born with disability. Sometimes they're not born with a disability, but something happens, whether they get wounded or they, you know, go through a car accident that changes their lives forever. As a family, the importance of acceptance and support.
Look, please listen to this one. We were first created before we were formed. So how we are packaged, it never matters. What matters most is that we are created in the image and the likeness of God. Receive a child as a gift, because God, surely there is something of value. Don't see the child as a curse. Don't see the child as a burden. Give her, I mean, you saw Manunu. She's so well taken care of. And her now being the mother, I mean, it's so exciting. And she loves the Lord. She's positive about life. So, I mean, to have such a soul in our midst, it's a blessing.
It is.
But one thing that really matters most, especially in our culture, is that most family structures are broken and fractured. We bless the Lord that Manunu at least was born in a covenant called marriage.
Of course, yes. And I think really the lesson is to say to parents to accept our children, to support them, because Manunu would not have been Manunu without the love and care that the mom and dad showed her. And I think a lot of the times, you know, you'll find that your child is not physically disabled, but there are children who struggle with depression from a young age, with, you know, a number of other mental illnesses and other struggles. Yes, it's important to pay attention and support our children, you know, through everything that they go through, because otherwise who else do they go to if as parents we're not there for them?
Sometimes parents, they think that children only wants money from them. It's not about money. It's your love, your time. Sit down with them and take them through your moments so that they can know this is life. And in this life, things are happening. Please don't give up on your child.
All we need is your time and attention as well.
Oh, yes.
You can go take a bit of a break, drink some water, and come back, because we've got so much more to reflect on when we come back after the break.